Hello and welcome to the very first edition of Goodwin Boxing's The Fight Preview, a new segment brought to you in 2020 where we look at some of the fights coming up in the Goodwin Boxing shows. We'll have fight analysis, expert opinion and an in-depth look into fighter records. Now the first fight we'll be looking at is the vacant Super-Featherweight English title taking place between two undefeated fighters on the 21st of March House of Pain show at your call. Chingford's Liam Dillon, who boasts a record of 9 wins and 1 draw, will be facing off against the slightly less experienced Dennis Wahome, who's undefeated in 7 professional fights. Looking at them individually, here's how they stack up. Focus on Liam Dillon first. So as mentioned, he's had 10 bouts as a pro, winning 9 and 1 draw, starting his career back in 2017. His first 5 fights were a perfect path for him to gain experience, fighting the likes of Harris, Beeden, Helmsley, Quinn and Christian Lay. They would have given him rounds, all have individually taught him something. Then mid-2018, it was time for Dillon to step up to 6 rounds. Dean Evers provided a bigger test for him and ultimately pushed Dillon close over the 6 rounds. But Dillon handled the extra rounds, adjusted and emerged victorious, 58-57 on the scorecards. Closer than he would have hoped, but the experience gained in the fight provided useful, as his next fight saw him pick up his first stoppage win, halting Croatian Antonio Horvatic in 3 rounds. Dillon then finished off the year with another 6-round points victory over Michael Horobin, before getting a crack at his first professional title when he took on Dave Birmingham for the vacant Southern Area Super-Featherweight title. It was a coming-of-age performance in many ways for Dillon. The pressure of the big fight didn't seem to affect him as he went on to wear Birmingham down and eventually stopping him in round number 7. Fast forward to November 2019, Dillon's last fight was for in fact the same title that's on the line in this fight on the 21st of March. He took on Yusuf Kamari in one of the fights of the year. If you haven't seen it, I recommend giving it a watch. You won't be disappointed. Liam and Yusuf went at it for 10 rounds. Dillon with his come forward aggression, walking Yusuf down and making him work. Yusuf with the cute inside intelligent work. The 3 scoring judges on the night couldn't split them. 1 judge scoring it to Kamari, 1 judge scoring it to Dillon and 1 judge scoring it even. Both fighters were disappointed. Draws always produce an anticlimax for both sides, but the question is, will that draw fuel the fire that Dillon needs to collect the belt on the second time of asking? But standing in his way is 30-year-old Dennis Wahome. A perfect record in the pros so far. He actually turned pro the same year as Dillon back in 2017. Wahome actually fought a couple of the same fight as Dillon has, with Andy Harris and Jamie Quinn facing both. But Wahome, like Dillon, comfortably got through those aforementioned 2 fights, as well as wins over tough fighters in Alec Baza and Jamie Spate. It was March last year where Wahome stepped up to 6 rounds. This time he faced off against Latvian Alexander Birkenbergs. Now if you're unfamiliar with Birkenbergs, he's a guy who'll make you work. He's not the most polished boxer you'll ever see, but he is someone who'll test your mettle, and if you're not fit he'll find you well. But Wahome was fit and was more than capable of the task in hand and saw off Birkenbergs 59-56 on the scorecards. Wahome then took on 170 fight veteran Ibra Riaz and a quick 4-rounder to keep his momentum and the winning streak going. That led into Wahome's last fight, in which he took on Bulgarian Stefan Slavchev and a scheduled 6-rounder. But it took just 2 rounds for Wahome to dispatch him, setting him up perfectly for a title opportunity. And it's March the 21st that sees Wahome get that opportunity. His first crack at a major title and a chance to write himself into the boxing history books. It has to be said, not many people get a straight shot at the English title in their first title opportunity, but it's a shot that Wahome feels he deserves and feels that he's more than ready to handle. Wahome is a stablemate of Dillon's last opponent in Yusuf Kamari. He has the same coach in Xavier Miller, and will that inside information give Wahome the edge? So here's how they stack up head to head. If you're following the Goodwin Boxing social media platforms, you may have seen this already. But side by side, there isn't an awful lot to split them. Dillon's 10 fights to Wahome's 7. Wahome with a perfect record, so far winning all 7 bouts. And Dillon still undefeated, winning 9 of the 10, but has got that 1 draw that we mentioned earlier. Dillon slightly edges the KO percentage with a 20% KO ratio compared to Wahome's approximate 14%. But the big difference when looking at them head to head is the number of rounds boxed as a pro. Dillon having completed nearly double the amount of rounds compared to Wahome. So the big question is, will that be a factor? Will those extra experience tip the balance in the favour of Dillon? Or will the freshness of Wahome pay dividends as they head down the stretch? March 21st we'll find out. We're going to move on to the results of the fan polls in a little bit, as well as our 3 expert opinions. But first, we've managed to get a video from each of the fighters, each with a few words that they've said ahead of their bout, and here's what they have to say.
I'm looking forward to March 21st, me versus Liam Dillon. It's going to be explosive, it's going to be exciting. Make sure you're there, tickets are ready, so make sure you grab those. Come March 21st, I expect to be victorious and nothing else. Training's in full swing, and we're ready.
So both very much up for the task, as we expect. If we ran a poll on social media a few days ago asking the fans how they see the fight going at this stage. We're wondering who they were picking and who they're picking to win, and here's the results. So as you can see, the early signs the majority of the public are backing Dillon at this stage, 68% compared to 32% for Wahome. Most think the experience will pay key. But do the experts see it the same way? We asked 3 experts of their opinion. First up is Brian Gee, a professional coach at the State of Mind gym in Hammersmith. Here's what he had to say. I think Dillon's experience gained from the massive fight with Kumar will give him the edge over Wahome. Good fight, but Dillon by 2 or 3 rounds. So Brian giving it the way of Dillon, but seeing it close on points. The next expert is former English light heavyweight champion Miles Shinkwin. He says, I think Dillon will be too much Wahome, overwhelm him and wear him down. It could be down to who wants it more down the stretch. So Miles sees it as a Dillon late stoppage, but he also mentions that he thinks there will be a point in the fight where both will have to dig deep in the later rounds, and he sees that point as the key to the fight. Moving on to our third and final expert is the current English middleweight champion Liam Dillon Dennis Wahome. Here's what he had to say about the fight. He said, first of all, great matchup, but the winner for me is Dillon. Wahome is classy, but Dillon's style and pace will be too much for him. In my opinion, Dillon in 6 to 8 rounds. So Linus sees it going a similar way to Miles, that Dillon will get on top in the latter part of the fight. But one interesting point that, for me, that Linus makes in those things is Wahome's mention of Wahome's classy boxing skills. He's probably considered the more polished boxer of the 2 and was a good amateur. So as well as it be interesting to see how those 2 styles gel as they finally face off against each other. So there you have it. We've heard from both sides of the fighters, you've heard from the experts, and we've seen how some of you, the boxing fans, see it going. Will they be correct? Will you be correct? Will Dillon get the English title at the second time of asking, or can Wahome prove the doubters wrong with his boxing skill? Can he force Dillon to fight his fight? One thing's for sure, it's a fight you'll not want to miss. House of Pain, the 21st of March at your call, is a fantastic card. Not only does it include this fight, but it also includes Liam Dillon Dennis defending his English middleweight title against John Brennan. Adrian Martin takes on former Southern Area champion Sean Robinson in an English super welterweight title eliminator, plus Daryl Church and Dominic Friggs go at it again, but this time over 10 rounds, and for a Southern Area light heavyweight title eliminator. Plus a full undercard. Tickets are priced at £40, $65 and £100, and are still available from the boxers or via www.goodwinboxing.co.uk. If you haven't already, please follow us on our social media platforms, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again on the next instalment of the Goodwin Boxing's The Fight Preview.